Hi there, and thanks for watching Sound Booth Tutorials. If you feel I've taught you some cool or useful techniques over the past few years, which have enabled you to make better mixes, you can show your support by donating $1, $5 or more to Sound Booth Tutorials and enable me to continue bringing you great content. Even $1 in show of your support would make a huge difference. I've also set up a Facebook page where you can ask me questions about music performing, recording, producing, engineering and mixing. I'll do my best to answer all posts. I also encourage the community to work together to help each other. I hope to see you there. Also, for exclusive content, including extended videos, please head over to All Buttons In and remember to subscribe. Hi folks, welcome to another Sound Booth tutorial. Today we're going to look at drum replacement without using samples. This is a fairly simple technique. It can be a little bit time consuming, but in a lot of cases I actually prefer this over using samples because of the headache that samples can cause in terms of being able to blend them back in with the original acoustic drums, and maybe the sample doesn't have the same kind of feeling as the original drum. It can be quite hard to blend that back in such a way that it feels authentic to the song and feels like it actually fits in with the song as it should. So I've got here A Place for Us, which is by Carlos Gonzalez, who's kindly given me permission to use it in this tutorial. This is a technique that I use in particular on pop style tunes and things where you might have problems with the way that something was recorded. So I'll just play through this. I've just got two snare drum mics here, and they're both apparently from the same source. In theory, they should be in phase. So what I'll do is I'll just undo what I've done so you can hear the difference. Alright, so that to me feels fairly thin. So let's have a listen after I've done a bit of treatment to it. And just as a reminder of where we were. So this serves as a good example of, I mean, I don't know exactly what's going on in the recording of this, but you'll see that in terms of phase, and this is meant to be microphones from the same kit, they don't exactly line up and they tend to move around quite a lot. So what we're going to do is we're going to replace the hits on the second snare drum mic. I've already done it on the first. So let's put that into solo and we'll pick out the strongest hit. So I reckon that one's pretty good. And you can hear there that the compressor kicked in too much, or something's gone wrong. It's actually done it twice. And so it's taken a lot of the wind out of its sails, so to speak. Whereas that's quite a strong hit. So let's have a look at the phase relationship with the first mic. Not too bad. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it up using the B key, and we'll just get the majority of that hit in phase. So it's just a slight movement forward in time. I'm pretty much trying to line it up with the 0 line here where it crosses. So that's the difference. So I've gone too far. and we want it to pretty much line up on most bits, but you'll never get it perfect. But if you can get the majority of it to line up in phase, that's half the battle. So we could actually go further forward in time. And there we have it. So let's have a listen to that hit with both mics. Sounds pretty good. All right. And so the next step is to just clean this up a bit. And I'm just going to consolidate, pardon me, I'm going to consolidate that, which is Alt-Shift-3. And the way that we pick out this to use as a sample is we tab to transient on the reference track, which is our mic 1, tab to transient, and then we press the colon key to go down. We break it using the B key, and then I just shift tab, and that selects it until the next transient, but we can pull it back just a little bit. And then I press B again, and we've broken it, and that's now our new snare drum sample. And the beauty of doing this in Pro Tools with the tab to transient feature is that what we can do is to copy that sample. So tab to transient, colon key to go down, V to paste. And it should pretty much line up, as you can see there, pretty well in phase. And then what we do is go along to our next one, tab to transient, colon key to go down, go up using the P key, tab to the beginning of the next one. So we're just replacing the major hits, nothing more. That's it, it's all done for the rest of the song. So we go back to verse 2 and have a listen. Actually, before we do that, we need to clean up our edits. And so we take tab to transient off and we'll zoom in. And this actually, when we hit tab now, means that we go to the region. So we can zoom in quite close and we don't have to zoom out in order to clean up the edits. So there we go. We've replaced everything in verse 2. Let's take a listen. So there you go, we've got some nice consistent hits there. Obviously this sounds quite a lot the same for that entire section, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but it can be a little bit boring. But with the addition of the other mics, it certainly makes for a much more organic sound, I guess you could say. Also, I'm aware that I'm clipping. I don't mind the sound of clipping sometimes. Let's do one last listening comparison. So I'll put it back in context and you can hear the difference. I really like this technique. I think it's probably one of those things that I've taken for granted, but I thought I'd show it to you. And I mean, the beauty of this is that those sounds have actually come from the actual drum kit in that session. All we've done is we've just taken the best of what's happening in that session and used it throughout each section. Hopefully you find it as useful as I've found it. Until next time, happy mixing. If you have any questions, comments, or ideas for new tutorials or require mixing services, please email me at yamahadrums2009@hotmail.com and please subscribe to remain informed of future video releases.